Hello, friends. How are you today? It is so good to be with you. I have a wonderful, wonderful experiment to do with you today. And it's entitled Sink or Float. And when I think of the word sink, S-I-N-K, that's this word right there, I think of things that go down to the bottom of a water line. Anything that goes all the way down. And when I think of the word float, I think of things that come above a water line and stay there drifting, wavering. And I'm sure you've seen it if you've gone to the beach or maybe even the pool, right? You can see things that can go down to the bottom of the pool and or things that stay above the pool line water, right? So today I found some things and I want to test them. I've got a cotton ball. I've got a rubber band. I've got a sponge. I've got a seashell. I've got a small metal container. I've got a toothpick. I've got a screw. And I've got just a small piece of paper. And I'd like to know if either of these items either sink down or float up. And of course, we're going to need water. I just happen to have a bottle container of water, but you can get your water from a sink. I have a plastic cup, and you can use a container or a huge plastic cup like this, large enough to hold your water, and to be able to test the items that you would like to test. But today you're going to join me and see if whether or not these items will sink or float. But we're going to make a prediction first before we test any of these items. And that's exactly it. A prediction is a guess on whether or not something will either sink to the bottom or stay up on the top. So let's fill up our container. Just like I'm doing, I'll move my hand out of the way. And you just fill it up midway. That's good enough. And if you had a container, you would need, of course, a lot more water, depending upon its size, right? And so what I'd like to do is make my predictions. Would you help me, my friends? Great. So we've got the cotton ball. Do you think it's going to sink to the bottom or stay up on top? Let's find out. I think it's going to float. What do you say, friends? Okay, let's see. What did it do? My, there it is. It stayed up on top. It's floating. Well, let's get it out. That was amazing, wasn't it? Let's get the next item. Rubber band. What do you think? I think it's going to float. You say sink? Okay, let's test. You were right. It went down to the bottom. It sunk right on down. I don't know if you can see it. I'll put it up close to you. There it is on the bottom. How amazing is that? You're getting good at your predictions, my friends. Let's try the next item, the sponge. Sink or float? I'm going to say sink. You say float? Let's test it. What? Oh my goodness, you're so correct, my friends. There it is up on top, floating away. Looks like a little raft you would find in a pool. Wow. Let's try the seashell. I'm thinking this might go down to the bottom and sink, like you would find them in the ocean water. Let's see if I'm correct. Do you say sink also? Okay, let's see if our prediction is correct. Did you hear it? Did you hear it go all the way down and sink to the bottom of the cup? My friends, you are just too smart. I hope you're enjoying this activity. Let's take that out of there. And let's try the metal container. Let's find out. What's a prediction of yours, guys? I'm going to say sink. What do you think? Do you think it's going to float? Okay, here we go. What? Look at that, my friends. You were right again. You're so smart. Kiss those brains. Look at that. It just remained up on top of the surface. It is actually floating. That was a tricky one. I thought it was going to go down to the bottom and sink. Let's try the toothpick. What do you predict? Will it sink or float? I'm going to say sink. What do you think? Float? Okay, let's test it. Friends, you're right again. There it is. It's floating away on the top of the surface. I hope you can see it. It didn't sink to the bottom. Amazing. Wow. Now let's look at the screw. I'm thinking it's gonna sink. What do you think? Brain match with me? Great. Let's find out. Did you hear it? It went clunk and it went right down to the bottom. There it is. It sunk right to the bottom. Wow. My friends, you are becoming expert scientists with your study. Now let's find out about that piece of paper. Sink or float? Let's find out. I'm thinking it's going to sink. Do you say float? Okay, let's test it. Here we go. Wow. Seems like the water is being absorbed by the paper. That means being sucked up. And it might be trying to either sink down to the bottom if it gets fully wet and absorbed, and it's trying to fight its way to stay up afloat above the surface. This one's a tricky one. It could either be sinking or floating. Oh, this is a hard one, my friends. Wow, let me try it again. Here we go. There it is. It seems to be absorbing, and it seems to be wanting to be pulled right down to the bottom. Oh, my friends, this is a tricky one, huh? Yeah. So, my friends, we have done a lot today. We tested out. I'll take the water out if it wants to come out. We tested the cotton ball and learned that it got absorbed again by the water, just like that paper. And it went down and then it came back up. Isn't it amazing? And then we tested the rubber band, and that went right down to the bottom. And then we tested the sponge, and that just floated up on top. And then the seashell, boom, went down to the bottom. And then the metal container stayed right up on top. And then the toothpick stayed right on top, floating away. And then the metal screw went down to the bottom. And then that paper kind of was being absorbed, just like that cotton ball. Look at it now. Seems to be, wow, this is still a tricky one. Right there in the middle, trying to either go down or stay up on top. So I'm wondering, my friends, maybe you are too. Does weight or mass of an item have anything to do with whether an item will sink or float? Well, that's for you to find out. Find out if anything that is heavier than something else, cotton ball versus a shell, maybe weight has a lot to do with an item sinking and or floating to the surface. Test those out and have fun as you work on this project with some of the items around where you are at right now. Again, you'll need a cup or a container. You'll need water. You will need any item you choose, and you can just check off those items or write the words in, sink or float, or maybe somewhere in the middle. And test as many things as you can. Always ask an adult for help. And remember, just have lots of learning fun. Until next time, my friends, sink or float, have fun. Bye now, my friends.